Captain Alex Morgan stood on the bridge of the Earth exploration vessel Horizon staring at the main screen. His dark eyes narrowed at the strange object floating against the backdrop of stars. The ship had been mapping the edges of the Orion Arm for 3 weeks now, and this was the first sign of anything unusual. "What do we have, Sam?" Morgan asked his science officer. Lieutenant Sam Peters adjusted his glasses and leaned closer to his console. "Definitely artificial, Captain. About half our size. No energy signatures except for a faint life support system. It's just drifting." Morgan rubbed his jaw. Protocol said to report unknown vessels and continue their mission. But something about this felt wrong. Any life signs? Faint readings. Could be survivors. Sam looked up, his expression serious. "If there are, they won't last long. That life support is barely functioning." Morgan made his decision quickly. Plot an intercept course. Alert Medical Bay to prepare for possible casualties. Officer Kelly Wilson, his second-in-command, stepped closer. "Captain, protocol clearly states." "I know what protocol states, Officer Wilson," Morgan cut her off. "But I'm not leaving anyone to die in the emptiness of space. Not if I can help it." The Horizon changed course, approaching the alien vessel carefully. It was unlike anything they had seen before. Angular, with what looked like thick armor plating covering its hull. Parts of it were scorched black, suggesting weapon damage. "Boarding party with me," Morgan ordered. "Dr. Reeves, you too." Lisa Reeves, the ship's chief medical officer, grabbed her emergency kit without question. She had served with Morgan for 5 years and trusted his judgment, even when it went against protocol. They suited up and crossed through the docking tube, weapons ready. The alien ship's interior was hot and humid, with strange red emergency lighting casting eerie shadows. The gravity felt heavier than Earth normal, making each step require extra effort. "This atmosphere is barely breathable for humans," Dr. Reeves said, checking her scanner. "High oxygen content, but also gases I can't even identify. Whatever built this ship doesn't breathe like we do." They moved deeper into the vessel, finding signs of a battle. Strange burn marks scored the walls, and dark stains that might have been blood splattered the floor. "Captain," Sam called from a side corridor. "In here." They entered what appeared to be the bridge. Bodies were scattered around, but they weren't human, not even close. The creatures were massive, with tough-looking scaled skin and powerful limbs. Each one would have stood over 7 feet tall, with broad shoulders and what looked like natural armor plating. "They're reptilian," Dr. Reeves whispered, kneeling beside one. "But like nothing in our databases." A sound made them all turn, weapons raised. In the corner, one of the creatures was still alive, its chest rising and falling slowly. Unlike its dead companions, this one's scales had a greenish tint. It opened its eyes, vertical slits of bright yellow, and stared at the humans. It spoke, the words coming out as rough growls, incomprehensible to human ears. "Universal Translator is working on it," Sam said, adjusting his device. The creature tried again, and this time the translator converted its speech. "Destroyer. Coming." Warned too late. Dr. Reeves approached slowly, scanner in hand. "I'm a doctor. I can help you." The alien's eyes widened with surprise. "You, fragile ones. Why still? Stand. This air kills soft species." "We're tougher than we look," Morgan said, stepping forward. "I'm Captain Alex Morgan of the Earth vessel Horizon. Can you tell us what happened here?" "Skark," the creature replied, thumping its chest weakly. "Last of crew. Attacked. Concord ships. They fear Deathworlders meeting." Dr. Reeves' scanner beeped. "Captain, his biology is fascinating. Extremely dense muscle tissue, redundant organs, naturally armored skin. But he's dying. Whatever attacked them used some kind of toxin that's shutting down his systems." "Can you help him?" Morgan asked. "Maybe. But I need to get him to our medical bay. She looked at the alien. Skark, we want to help you, but we need to move you to our ship. Do you understand? Skark's eyes focused on the humans with new intensity. You from Deathworld too. Like Karax. Morgan didn't understand the term, but nodded anyway. We're from Earth, and we're going to help you. That's a promise. Dr. Reeves worked for 6 hours straight in the medical bay of the Horizon *. Skark's body was unlike anything she had studied before. His blood was thick and dark green. His heart had 3 chambers instead of 4. His lungs could process gases that would kill a human in minutes. How is he? Captain Morgan asked, entering the medical bay. Stable for now, Dr. Reeves said, wiping sweat from her forehead. His body is fighting the toxin better than I expected. These Caraxians are incredibly resilient. Skark's eyes opened slowly. The bright lights of the medical bay made his vertical pupils narrow to thin lines. The soft skins saved Skark, he rumbled, his translator making his deep voice understandable. We help those in need, Morgan said simply. Can you tell us what happened to your ship? Skark pushed himself up to a sitting position. Even wounded, his strength was impressive. Concord ships attacked without warning. They have hunted my kind for generations, just as they hunt yours. Our kind, Morgan frowned. Humanity has only been in space for a century. We've never encountered these Concord forces. You will, Skark said grimly. The Concord fears Deathworlders, species like yours and mine who evolved on harsh planets. They call Earth and Karax nightmare worlds unfit for civilized life. Officer Wilson entered the medical bay, her face tight with concern. Captain, we're picking up unusual signals. Multiple ships approaching our position. Morgan turned to leave, but Skark grabbed his arm with surprising speed. They found us. The Concord never stops hunting. Your people must know the truth before it's too late. What truth? Morgan asked. The Concord has been manipulating both our species, creating conflicts, suppressing technology, keeping us contained. They fear what happens if Deathworlders unite. Morgan returned to the bridge with Skark following behind. The alien moved with caution, his large frame seeming out of place among the human-sized corridors and equipment. Sam Peters looked up from his station. Captain, we've got 6 unknown vessels on approach. Their design doesn't match anything in our database. Show me, Morgan ordered. The view screen lit up with images of sleek ships, beautiful in their design, but clearly built for war. They moved with precision that spoke of advanced technology. Concord hunters, Skark growled. They will demand you surrender me, then destroy your ship anyway. As if on cue, the communication system activated. A slender, almost delicate-looking alien appeared on screen. Its skin was pale blue, its features fine and symmetrical in a way that seemed too perfect. Earth vessel, the alien spoke in flawless English. This is Ambassador Elinder of the Galactic Concord. You have a fugitive criminal aboard. Surrender the Caraxian immediately. Morgan stepped forward. This is Captain Alex Morgan. We found a survivor on a damaged ship. Under Earth law, we are obligated to provide assistance. Your primitive laws do not concern us. Elindor replied coldly. The Caraxian poses a threat to galactic security. Surrender him or face the consequences. They lie, Skark said quietly. Always, they lie. Morgan studied the alien ships on the tactical display. The Horizon was an exploration vessel, not a warship. They were outgunned and outnumbered. We need to reach Earth, he said to Wilson. Warn them about this threat. They positioned to cut off our route home, Sam noted. Skark stepped closer to the view screen. There is another way. My people can help. If we reach Caraxian space, both our species might survive what comes next. What comes next? Morgan asked. War, Skark replied simply. The Concord has kept our kinds apart for centuries. Now that we've met, they will try to eliminate us both. The first energy blast from the Concorde ships rocked the Horizon *. Alarms blared throughout the ship. "All power to engines," Morgan ordered. "Plot a course away from Earth. If we can't go home, we'll find another way." "Where to, Captain?" the navigator asked. Morgan looked at Skark, making a decision that would change the future of humanity forever. "Show us the way to Karax." The Horizon shuddered as another blast hit its shields. Captain Morgan grabbed his chair to steady himself as the ship made a desperate run from the Concorde fleet. "Shields at 40%, Sam called out, his fingers flying over the controls. "They're faster than us, Captain." Morgan turned to Skark, who stood watching the tactical display with narrow eyes. "Any ideas? We can't outrun them forever." "There." Skark pointed to a dense asteroid field on the map. "The Veil of Shadris. Their larger ships cannot follow. We might lose them there." "Risky," Officer Wilson said. "Those asteroids could tear us apart." "We're dead anyway if we keep running in open space," Morgan replied. "Set course for the asteroid field, maximum speed." The Horizon changed direction, heading toward a thick cluster of spinning rocks. The Concorde ships followed, firing continuously. Inside the ship, systems began to fail as the damage spread. "Life support damaged on Deck 3, an engineer reported. Temperature dropping to -20°C. "Seal it off," Morgan ordered. "Redirect crew to other sections." Skark watched as the human crew continued working despite the crisis. When the life support failed in a second section, sending temperatures soaring to over 50°C, the humans there simply removed layers of clothing and kept working. "Your kind is more resilient than you appear," Skark observed. "Most species would be incapacitated by such conditions." "Earth has regions just as extreme," Morgan explained as they entered the asteroid field. "We adapt." Navigating the asteroids demanded all their skill. Massive rocks tumbled and collided around them. The larger Concorde ships held back at the edge of the field, but smaller pursuit craft followed them in. "We're venting atmosphere from the cargo bay," Sam reported. "Hull breach detected." "Anyone in there?" Morgan asked. "2 crew members," Wilson confirmed, her voice tight. "They were securing equipment when the breach occurred." Morgan opened the internal comm. "Peterson, Ramirez, report status." After a tense moment, a strained voice answered. "Peterson here, sir. Suits compromised. Atmosphere is gone. It's getting hard to breathe." "Hold on," Morgan ordered. "We're sending a rescue team." "No time, sir," Peterson replied, his voice fading. Just make it count." Skark moved before anyone could stop him. He took an emergency breathing apparatus designed for humans, far too small for his large frame, and headed for the cargo bay. "Stop him," Wilson called out. "That won't work for his biology." But Skark was already gone. The crew watched on internal cameras as the massive alien forced his way through damaged corridors. The tiny human breathing mask covered only a fraction of his face, but he pushed forward, his scales changing color from green to a stressed dark gray. Minutes later, Skark returned carrying both unconscious crew members. He dropped to his knees in the corridor as medical teams rushed to help. Dr. Reeves attended to the Caraxian. "Crazy fool," she muttered, checking his vital signs. "He shouldn't even be alive after that." "Worth it," Skark rumbled weakly. "Good warriors. Would do same for Skark." Later, in the relative safety of the asteroid field center, Morgan sat with Skark in the mess hall. The Caraxian was recovering quickly, another testament to his species' resilience. "Why risk your life for my crew?" Morgan asked. "You barely know us." Skark looked at him with those alien yellow eyes. "Deathworlders understand. Life is struggle. Those who struggle together survive together." At a nearby console, Communications Officer Diane Spencer called out, "Captain, I've been working on decrypting the Concorde transmissions. I think you need to see this." Morgan and Skark moved to her station, On her screen were star charts and ancient-looking symbols. "They're not just afraid of us meeting," Spencer explained, pointing to the data. "They're terrified of what we might discover, something about our shared history." Skark's scales rippled with surprise. "The ancient ones, the seeding." "What seeding?" Morgan asked. "Legend says Caraxians were not always of Carax. We came from elsewhere, placed there to grow strong." Skark pointed to one symbol that appeared repeatedly in the data. "This appears in our oldest ruins. The Concord fears what it means." "And what does it mean?" Morgan asked. Skark's gaze was intense. "It means, human, that our paths were meant to cross long ago." 3 days after escaping into the asteroid field, the Horizon limped toward an abandoned space station that Skark could identify from the star charts. The station hung silently at the edge of Caraxian territory, a massive ring structure covered in strange markings. "No power signatures," Sam reported. "It appears to have been dormant for centuries, maybe longer." "Are we sure about this?" Officer Wilson asked, eyeing the structure with suspicion. Skark nodded. "The archives might still be intact. If we want to understand why the Concord fears our alliance, we must look to the past." Morgan organized a boarding party consisting of himself, Skark, Dr. Reeves, and engineer Paul Martinez. They suited up and crossed to the ancient station using the Horizon's shuttle. Inside, emergency lights on their suits revealed vast, empty chambers. The air was stale but breathable. Strange symbols covered the walls, similar to the ones they had seen in the Concord data. "These markings are at least 50,000 years old," Martins said, running a scanner over one wall. "But the technology, it's incredibly advanced. Some systems might still be operational." They reached a central chamber with a large console. Martins examined it carefully, then connected his equipment. "If I can restore power to this section, we might be able to access the archives." While Martinez worked, Dr. Reeves studied other markings. "These look like genetic sequences," she said. "DNA structures, but with modifications I've never seen before." After an hour of careful work, Martinez succeeded. The chamber hummed to life, and holographic displays appeared, showing star systems and what appeared to be 2 planets, one clearly Earth, the other presumably Carax. "I'm translating the data now," Martins said, his fingers dancing over his devices. "It's an old language, but the structure is similar to some ancient Earth languages." As the translation progressed, the group fell silent. The archive told an astonishing story. Millions of years ago, a spacefaring civilization had seeded both Earth and Carax with modified versions of their own species. They had chosen harsh, dangerous worlds deliberately, knowing that evolution would force their descendants to develop in specific ways. "They were creating guardians," Skark said, his voice unusually soft, "preparing defenders for some future threat." According to this, Martins continued, "Humans and Caraxians were designed to complement each other. We evolved different strengths from the same genetic starting point. That's why the Concord has kept us apart," Morgan realized. "They discovered this plan and feared what would happen if we united and reclaimed our ancestors' technology." As they absorbed this revelation, Martinez found something else. "Captain, there's more. Coordinates to another facility. It contains technology our ancestors left for us to find when we were ready." A loud bang echoed through the station, followed by alarms from the Horizon. "Concord ships approaching." Spencer's voice came through their comms. "They found us." Security Chief Frank Howard radioed from the shuttle. "Captain, we've got company. Concord troops are boarding the station. At least 20 heavily armed." "Download everything you can," Morgan ordered Martinez. "We need to get this information back to the ship." Martinez worked frantically while the others prepared for a fight. The sound of weapons fire grew closer. "Almost done," Martinez said as the data transferred to his portable device. The doors to the chamber burst open. Howard and 2 security officers rushed in, firing behind them. "They're right on our heels, Captain." Skark moved with surprising speed, positioning himself at the narrowest part of the entrance. "Go," he growled. "Skark will hold them." "We're not leaving you," Morgan insisted. Skark turned to face him, yellow eyes intense. "This is bigger than us now. The data must reach Karax." Besides, he bared his teeth in what might have been a smile. "Deathworlders are hard to kill." Howard pulled at Morgan's arm. "He's right, sir. We need to move now." As they retreated toward the shuttle, they heard Skark's roar echoing through the ancient halls, followed by weapon fire and the sounds of combat. The last thing Morgan saw before the chamber doors sealed was Skark charging into a group of Concord soldiers, fighting with the ferocity of a true Deathworlder. The shuttle raced back to the Horizon under heavy fire from Concord ships. Inside, Captain Morgan gripped his seat as Howard piloted them through the chaos. "What about Skark?" Dr. Reeves asked, her face tight with concern. "We can't help him if we're all dead," Morgan replied, though the words tasted bitter. "We need to get this data to Karax." Once aboard the Horizon, they wasted no time. "Maximum thrust," Morgan ordered. "Get us out of here." The ship accelerated away from the station, taking hits from Concord weapons. Through the view screen, Morgan watched as explosions ripped through the ancient structure. His heart sank, thinking of Skark fighting alone in those halls. "Sir," Sam called from his station. "I'm picking up a small craft launching from the far side of the station. It's a Concord scout ship, but the energy signature is all wrong." "On screen," Morgan ordered. The small vessel appeared, flying erratically as it absorbed fire from other Concord ships. Its communications activated, and a familiar growling voice came through. "Soft skins fly too slow," Skark rumbled, sounding pained but alive. Skark borrowed faster ship. Relief washed over the bridge crew. Morgan grinned despite their desperate situation. "Match course and speed. We'll cover you as best we can." The Horizon and Skark's stolen vessel flood together, eventually jumping to faster-than-light travel when they cleared the system's gravity well. For 3 days, they traveled deeper into what Skark identified as Karaxian space, stopping only when necessary for repairs. During one such stop, Skark docked his small ship with the Horizon. He boarded with a slight limp, his scales showing new scars, but very much alive. "How did you escape?" Howard asked, clearly impressed. "Concord soldiers fight from distance," Skark explained. "They fear close combat. Used it against them. Took their ship." Martinez shared what they had learned from the archives, and Skark confirmed much of it aligned with ancient Karaxian legends. Both species had indeed been engineered by the same precursor civilization, designed to evolve specific traits. Humans developed endurance, adaptability, and problem-solving, Dr. Reeves explained. Karaxians developed strength, durability, and instinctive battle skills. Different solutions to survival on harsh worlds, Skark agreed. Together, formidable combination. On the 6th day of their journey, they reached Karaxian territory proper. Almost immediately, they were surrounded by massive warships that dwarfed even the Concord vessels. "We come in peace," Morgan transmitted. "We have a Karaxian crew member aboard and vital information for your people." There was no response except for weapons locking onto the Horizon. "They don't believe us," Wilson said quietly. "Let me speak to them," Skark insisted. He took over communications and spoke in his native language, a series of growls and clicks that the translator couldn't fully process. The response was immediate. A transmission from the largest Karaxian vessel. On screen appeared a Karaxian even larger than Skark, with battle-scarred gray scales and a crest of spines. "I am War Commander Vrosk," the Karaxian announced. "You claim to carry one of our kind, yet you fly a human vessel deep in our territory. Explain before we destroy you." "War Commander," Morgan stepped forward. "I am Captain Alex Morgan of Earth. We rescued one of your people and have discovered information that affects both our species. The Concord has been manipulating us, keeping us apart for a reason. Concord deception, Skark added. Humans and corrections share ancestors. We're meant to find each other. Vrosk's eyes narrowed. Bold claims, easily proven false if you lie. We have data from an ancient archive, Martinez offered, and genetic evidence that suggests a common origin for both our species. Vrosk studied them silently, then made a gesture to someone off-screen. You will be escorted to our homeworld. There you will present your evidence to our scientists. If you speak truth, perhaps we listen. If not, he bared rows of sharp teeth. Humans taste much like Triga beasts, or so I've heard. As the transmission ended, Morgan looked at his crew. Well, that could have gone worse. Could have gone better too, Howard muttered. Skark made a rumbling sound that might have been laughter. Vrosk didn't destroy your ship immediately. For corrections, that is warm welcome. Carax was nothing like Earth. From orbit, it looked like a world of extremes, vast deserts, active volcanoes, and oceans so turbulent that waves could be seen from space. Its gravity was almost twice that of Earth, and its atmosphere contained gases that would be toxic to most other species. To the human crew of the Horizon Asterisk, it looked hostile and dangerous. To Skark, it looked like home. The Caraxian escort guided them to a landing facility outside a massive city built from dark stone and metal. Armed guards surrounded the Horizon Asterisk as soon as it touched down. The heat and gravity hit the humans like a physical blow when they stepped outside. Remember, Morgan told his crew as they prepared to meet the Caraxian leaders, we came all this way for an alliance. No matter how they receive us, we stay diplomatic. War Commander Vrosk met them personally, towering over even the tallest humans. He inspected them with obvious suspicion, particularly focusing on their lack of natural armor. You truly evolved on a death world? He asked Morgan skeptically. You look too soft. Our world has different challenges, Morgan replied evenly. Extreme temperature variations, diverse predators, natural disasters. We adapted through intelligence and endurance rather than physical armor. Vrosk made a dismissive sound but led them into a vast chamber where other corrections waited. Among them was a smaller individual with lighter-colored scales who approached with obvious curiosity. I am Karst, lead biologist. He introduced himself. Your claims interest me greatly. May I examine your genetic data? Martinez provided the information they had recovered from the ancient station. For hours, Caraxian scientists studied it while the humans waited, uncomfortable in the heat and high gravity. Dr. Reeves worked alongside Karst, comparing human and Caraxian DNA samples. Despite their outward differences, the basic genetic structure showed remarkable similarities, too many to be coincidental. The evidence supports your claim, Karst announced finally. Both our species appear to have been engineered from the same base template, modified to thrive in different extreme environments. That means nothing, Vrosk growled. Genetic similarities do not erase centuries of isolation. Humans have their territory, we have ours. The Concord ships that attacked us are likely heading toward Earth now, Morgan pointed out. They know we've made contact. They'll try to eliminate both our species before we can fully unite. Vrosk considered this, and why should we care about Earth's fate? Because the archives show that our ancestors created us for a purpose, Martinez explained. They faced some great threat and designed both our species to combat it when it returns. But we need to work together. Humans and corrections each have strengths the other lacks. The Concord discovered this plan centuries ago, Skark added. They've kept us separated, manipulated our development, all to prevent what our creators intended. Vrosk paced the chamber, his claws clicking on the stone floor. Even if all this is true, how do we know humans won't betray us once the Concord threat is dealt with? Before Morgan could answer, alarms blared throughout the facility. A Caraxian officer rushed in, reporting directly to Vrosk. Concord fleet detected entering the system, the officer announced. At least 30 capital ships. They've bypassed our outer defenses. They followed us, Wilson said quietly to Morgan. They must have tracked the Horizon somehow. Vrask turned to Morgan, eyes narrowed. You led them here. Not intentionally, Morgan insisted. But now we have no choice but to fight together. The facility shook as the first orbital strikes hit the planetary defenses. Vrask issued rapid orders, mobilizing Caraxian forces. If we die, he told Morgan, we died fighting. That is the Caraxian way. On Earth, Morgan replied, we have a saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Let's show the Concord what happens when they push two Deathworld species into a corner. For the first time, Vrask's mouth curved in what might have been a smile. Perhaps you are warriors after all, humans. Let us see how well you fight alongside Caraxians. The battle for Carax raged for 3 days. Concord ships filled the skies, raining destruction on the planet below. But the Caraxians fought back with fierce determination, their powerful weapons taking down enemy vessels one by one. Captain Morgan and his crew joined the fight, offering their skills wherever needed. Howard helped coordinate defense strategies, his tactical knowledge complementing the Caraxian battle instincts. Dr. Reeves worked alongside Caraxian medics, treating the wounded of both species. Martins and a team of Caraxian engineers struggled to understand the ancient data they had recovered, searching for anything that might help them survive. On the third day, the Concord landed ground forces, slender, graceful aliens with advanced weapons and armor. They expected to find weary defenders. Instead, they found humans and Caraxians fighting side by side. Morgan and Skark led a counterattack against a Concord landing zone. The humans, despite the crushing gravity and toxic atmosphere, fought with unexpected endurance. The Caraxians, impressed by the humans' tenacity, protected them from the worst dangers while striking with overwhelming force where needed. They complement each other perfectly, Karst observed to Vrask as they watched from the command center. Humans spot weaknesses and create strategies. Caraxians provide the strength to execute them. Just as our creators intended, Vrask admitted grudgingly. Perhaps there is wisdom in this alliance after all. Meanwhile, Martin has made a breakthrough with the ancient data. It's an activation sequence, he told Morgan during a brief respite from fighting. The precursors left defensive systems in various locations, including one right here on Carax. Where? Morgan asked, wiping sweat from his face. Their moon. Martins pointed to the large satellite visible even in daylight. There's a facility there, dormant for millennia, waiting for a specific signal. With Vrask's approval, Morgan and Martinez took a small team to the moon in a Caraxian shuttle. They found the hidden facility exactly where the data indicated, a vast complex built into the lunar surface. After hours of careful work, they activated the ancient systems. A massive energy wave spread out from the moon, washing over the Concord fleet. Their ships suddenly lost power, weapons and engines failing simultaneously. The wave passed harmlessly over Caraxian vessels and the planet itself. What did you do? Vrask demanded when they returned. The precursors built a failsafe, Martinez explained. Technology that could disable advanced weapons if their children, us, were ever threatened with extinction. With their ships disabled, the Concord had no choice but to surrender. Their commander, a tall blue-skinned alien, was brought before Vrask and Morgan. You have no idea what you've done, the Concord commander said bitterly. There are worse threats in this galaxy than us. The precursors created you as weapons, nothing more. What threats? Morgan asked. The Devourers, the commander replied. They come from beyond the galaxy every 50,000 years, consuming all life they encounter. Your precursors didn't create you to be their children. They created you to fight their war when they were gone. Is this true? Morgan asked Martinez. Martinez nodded slowly. The archives did mention a cyclical threat. That's why they engineered both our species with complementary traits. Humans for innovation and adaptability, Caraxians for strength and durability. How long until these devourers arrive? Vrosk demanded. The cycle is nearly complete, the Concord commander said. Perhaps 10 Earth years. The Concord has been preparing for centuries, but we knew we needed the Deathworlders' capabilities. We just feared what would happen if you grew too powerful. Morgan and Vrosk looked at each other, understanding passing between them. Then we have work to do, Morgan said simply. 1 month later, the first joint human Caraxian fleet gathered in orbit around Carax. Earth had been informed of the alliance and the coming threat. More ships arrived daily from both worlds as the former enemies became the strongest allies. Morgan stood with Skark on the bridge of their new flagship, watching humans and Caraxians working together. Do you think we can win against these devourers? Morgan asked. Skark's scales rippled with determination. Deathworlders do not go quietly. We were made for this fight, and now we face it together. Morgan nodded. Different paths, same destination. As our creators intended, Skark agreed. When Deathworlders cross paths, the galaxy trembles.